Black Out Loud Media Group. Welcome back to another episode of the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast, the place where poetry meets conversation. I'm your host, Terrence P. Elmore, and before we get into today's topic, make sure you hit that plus sign so you don't miss an episode. Also, please subscribe to my blog, thebrownssugarcafe.blog, and if you find any value in this episode or any other episodes, make sure you leave a heartfelt review. So with that being said, let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. I hope that you're enjoying this season so far. This is episode 9 of season 2. So far, I've had some guests, even dropped a poem on you all. I hope that you all are ready for what I got coming up next. In this season, I have more guests, more poetry to read. But before I get started, I just wanna say my thoughts and prayers are with Tyree Nichols' family and anybody's family who's lost someone to senseless violence, especially coming from the police. I don't know if any of you all decided to watch the footage or not. I have not seen the footage, don't want to see the footage. I've talked about this before, how watching the video with George Floyd being murdered, how it really affected me, and also it kind of catapulted me and changed the direction of my book that I've been working on. When I witnessed the video, I've talked about this before, but just in case you haven't heard it, when I witnessed the video of George Floyd being murdered in the length of time, not only just murdered, but tortured and murdered, how it affected me, how even though I had seen different police videos and things, even stemming back from when I was a little boy, watching the Rodney King beating, that video in particular, it affected me in a way that the other things hadn't affected me. It was very heartbreaking to see something like that, just to see another human being so filled with hate that they could slowly take somebody's life. And so with that, I started writing a poem, my version of Strange Fruit. And if you're not familiar with Strange Fruit, it's a song that was made popular by Billie Holiday. It was actually written by Abel Maripol. He wrote the poem after looking at some images of lynchings. And so with that and different murders caught on film, it led me to write my version called Familiar Fruit. And it's a poem that I was really on the fence about sharing. This book that I've been working on is called Pain Is Not Our Only Paintbrush. With that, I was thinking, hey, should I share a poem like this? Because it's a very painful poem. But I began to realize that I should, because it's a part of the story. It's a part of what goes on. And even though these things happen, pain is not our only paintbrush. If you decide to watch it, I hope you don't decide to watch it. But hey, some people need to see things for it to actually sink in. Just you get tired of seeing that stuff. And so that's where I'm at with this new project. I didn't get on here to talk about that, but I just wanted to shed some light on that subject and kind of put you in the mind frame of where I'm at when it comes to this book. I know you looked at the title and it says that I lied, time for me to come clean. Well, what did he lie about? Well, if you listen to previous episodes, I said that my book would be out in February, and it's not going to be out in February. And I'm okay with that. The reason why it's not going to be out in February, because the book is written. I may add some few poems, but it's nothing pressing to where I have to. But it's a certain look that I want this book to have, and it's a certain vibe that I'm trying to create with the cover and everything else. And I didn't think it would be fair to myself or anyone else, for that matter, of me just putting out something for the sake of having it done. When I said I would have it done, the month I said I would have it done. And that's okay. It's not a cool feeling, because I'm really excited about this project and I want it to be out. I want to get the feedback from it. I want people to enjoy it, but I want people to enjoy it the right way. I don't want to put out something that I'm not completely satisfied with just to say I had it out. And I'm okay with it. I was talking to my wife about it. She was saying how she knows this is important to me. And when I put something out there and I say that I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And so she could tell that that's something that's bothering me, because I don't want to be a person that's not being a person of my word. Like, if you ask me to do something and I tell you I'm going to do it, or even if I volunteer to do something, you can trust and believe that I'm going to do it. Unless something comes up and I can't, there's going to be ample time for me to let you know, hey, I apologize, but I can't do this because of X, Y, and Z. And that's kind of what the situation is. I want to put out a product that I'm satisfied with. And of course, me being an artist or creative, I'm probably never going to be satisfied fully 100%. It's always going to be something. And you all, my fellow writers, creatives, artists, you all understand that. Like, we always our worst critics about things. I'm cool with that too. But I just wanted you all to know that, hey, the book's not going to be ready by February for sale. It may be available for pre-sale by February. I don't know. But what I'm not going to do is put this pressure on myself to fill a deadline. And that's what I want you all to think about as well. When it comes to certain things, deadlines, goals, timelines, and things like that, if you're not meeting those expectations and you've been consistent in doing the things you need to, but you're not reaching those goals like when you said you would, or when you thought you would, if you've been being consistent in doing what you need to do, it's okay. Because whatever you're working on, the time you think is your time, or the time it's supposed to happen, might not be God's time, might not be the time that it's supposed to happen. And if you put out the work now, before you even get into a place where it's ready, you're going to do more of a disservice than not doing it at all, putting it out there before it's ready. So use this time. Use the time when you're working on something. I mean, you think it's going to be done, but it's not. But look at your progress. Look at how far you've gotten. Look at all the progress you made. And then you may be listening to this and saying, well, hey, I haven't been consistent. I haven't really made any progress. That's okay too. Because you know what? You can start now. This is your reminder to get back in the swing and get more consistent and start back. Start where you left off, but get back in the swing. Beginning of the year hasn't been the smoothest for me. It didn't, and some other people that I know. The year just hadn't started. I'm just being honest. The year hadn't started off so great. And it was times where my productivity lagged because the year didn't start off as great. But I touched my work. I did something each day. Even if it was reading over something that I wrote for 5 to 10 minutes, I did something each day to keep myself there, to keep my attention on it, and to keep it fresh. And anyone who's a writer knows this. Sometimes you just can't write. You just can't. No matter what's going on, it might not even be what's considered writer's block, but it's like your mind has like a bunch of things that you want to say, or you want to put out, or you want to write, and then you don't know where to start because you're thinking about all these challenges and things that have happened. And then that's mixing with all of these ideas you have, mixing with these words you want to write, these things you want to put down on paper. And sometimes you just can't write. And so you have to kind of step away and step back into it. And sometimes it takes reading over something that you wrote previously to get back in the swing, and it just is instant. You're back to writing, you're back flowing or whatever. But keep going and keep doing your thing. We're almost into February. You made it this far. You might not have started off the year right, but you're going to be able to finish out the month strong. No matter where you have been from January 1st to now, you're going to finish out the month strong because you're going to get back into it. You're going to stop procrastinating. You're going to make things happen. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to the people. You owe it to the people who are waiting for you. Whatever you're supposed to be doing, that podcast, that book, that speech, sometimes even that Facebook post, that idea you have, whatever it is, someone is waiting on it. And when you're holding back or procrastinating, it's not only affecting you, but it's holding up the people who need your words, who need your voice, who need your story to push forward. You're going to know when you're on the right track because you'll get the most opposition. You'll get the most pushback. It'll seem more difficult the closer you get to completing. And that's okay. As long as you recognize it and you get over that hurdle and keep going, It's fine. I'm always saying this, pause when you need to, but don't stop. Pause, regroup, get back in the swing, and then keep going. If you're feeling a little drained, find something that you love to do to relax and settle your mind and take your mind off of everything else. Just take your mind off of everything else and just take a deep breath and just refocus. It's not always going to be easy, but guess what? We've had difficult times before, and we've made it past those difficult times, and we've made it here. We've had times before when we thought we weren't going to make it, or the idea we had wasn't good enough, our talents weren't good enough, or we weren't qualified for a situation, but then we end up being the very person that was needed. Come on, man, look back through your life of all the different challenges and things you've had where you thought that you weren't going to get to the other side, or you thought that you weren't going to make it, or you thought that you weren't that person, and you ended up being the very person that was needed. Think about those times. Our mind is a powerful thing, good ways and bad ways. Sometimes we can trick ourselves into thinking something that's not even true, but you got to hold on to the stuff that you know is true. The good things about your past that have shaped and molded you and gotten you to where you are. And even some of those mistakes that have gotten you where you are. There's some good somewhere in those mistakes. You may have to look through them and think through them a little bit, but everything that's happened that has gotten you to this point now. And so you can't give up now. You've paused long enough. You've paused long enough. Now it's time to hit the unpause button. It's time to get back into it. Get back into your groove. Come on, man. Pick that book back up that you were writing. Finish that book. That podcast that you wanted to start. Maybe you recorded a couple of episodes and you hadn't let them out. Publish it. Get it out there. So my book's not going to be out in February, and I'm cool with that. Because when it does finally drop, it's going to be something that I'm going to be proud of. And it's something that I hope that you will enjoy and be proud of as well. And I don't do this enough, but I have 2 poetry books that have been dedicated to love. You can order them on my website. It's in the show notes. If you must, I prefer you not to, but if you must, they're available on Amazon as well. And it's been 5 years since I published my first book. I can't even believe it's been that long. 5 years. I'm now working on my 3rd book, which will be out soon. I don't know how soon, but it'll be out soon. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, keep pushing forward. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Terrence P. Elmore, and this is the place where poetry meets conversation. Hit that follow button and turn on your notifications so you won't miss an episode. Check out my blog, thebrownsugarcafe.blog. Also connect with me on Instagram at thebrownsugarcafe. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, remember, keep pushing forward.